You said you met GT at these events. Was this back when they had
He was with the
Sona
SWAT. He was with the
with
SWAT.
SWAT and with
Yeah, he was
Zilla and
with the
them?
SWAT. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was with Zilla. He was with Dynamite and 2 for 5 and a lot of guys that I knew. You know what I mean? From that were
Yeah.
kind of pop. Rob G. And I opened up. I did a couple songs, and it like I guess like I did my best at the time. I was going off, and like people weren't used to the way I was rapping at that time, real fast and real aggressive. So I kind of had everybody pumped up in the crowd, and then after they performed, guards would just approach me like, "What's up, bro? You know what I mean? Like you spit it, we chopped it up. I got his number, and I think like I never contacted him. You know, I never really like folk with Garza. I actually was like plexing with guards at first, and I didn't even know him. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just in my hood, a nigga had his poster, a female had his poster, the Maverick. He had a CD called
The
Mavericks Music,
Mavericks.
Maverick
Yeah,
Music,
yeah,
some
yeah.
shit, old CD. You know what I mean? And she had his picture, and she had my picture, and I was like, "Who's that?" You know what I mean? And I thought I was the hottest Mexican out at that time, at that just in my area too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She told me Garza. I was like, man, fuck that nigga. You know what I mean? I'm finna flex with that nigga. You know? So I started going off at when I met him every time I would go to the studio, that's what was my mentality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, man, I'm fixing to write a better verse than this nigga. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we had made a lot of good music at the beginning because it was like a friendly competition.
And,
And that was great. Like that, people don't really even do that anymore.
and
Everybody's copying each other now
I was
so
about to
much. You
say
know what I
that.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
you don't see that
yeah.
nowadays.
So it was fun. And Felony. Fellow was with us a lot. We
Felony.
used to
Yeah.
we used to fuck you and that boy T. We used to try to be like
But see, I
make you
remember
rewrite your
that
shit.
was
You
a
know what I
dope
mean?
ass wave, man. Felony, GT, Risky Boy.
Mm-hmm. Risky's my nigga, man. I just left Risky's
Man,
yesterday, man. I was at the studio.
he's still making beats and stuff,
Yeah, he's
right?
still doing that shit. That little freestyle I posted while I was at the studio, I was with Risky.
Like 2 days ago,
Yeah,
right? Or
yeah, yeah.
yesterday, actually. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, some shit like that. That Risky was in the background recording some shit. But they're my niggas, man. Like all that shit. That was a great time for us and just for music. It was just like wide open for everybody to do
And it's
what the
funny
fuck
you
they
say this
wanted. You know?
about GT because GT has always been. I don't know him personally, but the times that I've chopped it up with him, I did some music with him back in the day too. He's always been like one of the most humble dudes,
Oh yeah,
coolest
yeah, yeah, yeah,
fucking
yeah.
dudes you could ever
Well,
meet,
look,
man.
man. Like one of the reasons why I fuck GT's my little nigga. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit older than him. You know what I'm saying? And like, and coming up, when I met Garza, like I said, I was doing real street things. You know, I was selling a lot of work, doing all kind of shit. I was buying all kind. That's how I met Garza, on the upside. And like, one thing I fucked with Garza about because he don't try to act like somebody he ain't. You
Yes.
feel what I'm saying? So I was watching him at first because he wasn't really like my close friend at the time, just an acquaintance, a nigga I was trying to get to know, and you know what I mean. People wanted us to rap and shit, but I didn't know him, so I was just feeling him out. And as the process went on, I was like, well, this nigga don't be acting like he's gangster. He
He
ain't
don't,
gangster.
bro. He
You know
don't.
what I mean? Like, so he don't act that way. So he acts his accordingly to where he is, and that's what I appreciate. That's why I was like, man, I like this shit. I fuck with this nigga like that, and that's how it was because I'm one of them niggas that like, if you say you doing shit, then I
Yeah.
want to like, what's up? I'm gonna call you out on it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
people do that shit to me. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the way I was raised. You know, it's a
And,
Rosenberg
and,
thing.
and it's funny you say that, man. I take this back again because the first time I met GT, I remember he used to wear them. He's always been real skinny. It looked like he was wearing like them tight jeans. He always had his hat with the fucking
Bro, GT got style though. That boy got
yeah.
he one of them dancing niggas. That boy slick with it, bro. I'm telling you, dog. You got my nigga fucked up. That nigga got style. Nigga
but
slick
but
with
he
it.
like you said, he never acted. He was comfortable with how he dressed and who he was.
Yeah,
He never
yeah,
tried to put a front, and you got no choice but to respect that,
yeah. And
man.
see, and like coming up, that's one of the reasons why I feel like like I don't want to say like character because you like it's not like we're acting like to be anything, but once you can feel comfortable with who you are and how you rap, well then now you're not really competing no more. You're not trying to find these patterns that everybody's copying
Yeah,
because they just want to hear Bunz or they just want to hear Garza. You just rap your shit. Do how you do. Don't copy these niggas. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And Garza was kind of like that already when I made him. Kind of getting in that mode. That helped me get into that mode. Well, I was like, well,
yeah.
shit, I'm not going to copy Garza. I'm going to do Bunz. do my shit, and Felony was doing his shit. That boy T was doing his shit. Risky was making his beat. You know, like just everybody was in that zone. That shit was tight. Sticky Green was a great studio to be in. You know what I'm saying? DJ Flea, DJ Buddha, that was their spot. You know what I mean? That shit was gravy. That shit was tight. We met a lot of people in that studio. That's where the mic pass was filmed.
With the mic pass, yeah.
Yeah, I was outside the studio in my car right there. The video I took was outside the studio. You know what I mean? At the sticker, it was tight, bro.
So you guys, La Macchina, was this something you guys created? Was this something
That's Garza.
That's Garza stuff.
Excuse me. That's Garza. Garza. He was trying to branch off and do his own little, start his own label because we had so many records and like artists that were upcoming that we thought were like pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? That were involved, and that's something that he created. I want to say maybe '06. He started the machine. You know what I mean? And that's where it all branched out from. You know, it takes gears to grind. That was the logo. He started the machine. We had our own studio, all kind of shit right here, 45 and Scott, some shit like that. It was fucking fun. And that branched off to just trying to, when we did Brown by Honor, we didn't realize how big of a statement that would be for just Hispanics, you know what I mean? And rap. We just were, that was the first album me and him done. That's the only album that we really just did together. You know what I mean? Like focused, I'm on every track down there and shit like that, you know? And we named it that, we put it out, and it did well. And so people were like, oh, they're doing it for Hispanics. Yeah. And that's kind of how where the machine branched out to La Macchina. You know what I mean? Because we were doing it for our heritage. We were trying to show, like, you know what I mean? Hispanics can do that shit just as well as any other race. And like we were trying to do it different. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not because whether you believe it or not, there's a to me, you know, like people expect Hispanics to rap a certain way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so me and Garza were trying to break that stereotype. And so coming up, we were like, we're gonna rap like East Coast down there. We're gonna rap like West Coast. We're gonna rap like all kind of fucking shit. You know what I mean? Like that's how it was. And so shit, that it turned out pretty good. You know what I mean?
So when you guys did Brown by Honor, how much did that help the momentum you already had as an artist?
As far as look, I'm gonna be honest. Like I missed that momentum. Like that was that was around the time. That was probably one of the last big projects that I done before I had my kids in 2010. You know what I mean? Which is around the same year that Brown by Honor dropped.
Yeah.
And when that shit took off, like I said, we weren't expecting it to take off the way it was. But then we started doing these little shows in the valley, and people invited us, and it was picking up. You know what I mean? I was with them. Then I had my son, Jagger, and that's like at that time when I should have springboarded off of that. Like that's when I was like, see, it's been things like that, man. That's why, like a lot of people, but the reason why I think I can keep skipping and staying relevant into the game is just because, like, if I try to spit the dopest shit I can spit, that's it. Because I missed a lot of times to springboard forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, especially that was a big time. That Brown by Honor was a great run that we did. You know what I'm saying? And everything leading up to that project, we were dropping a lot of mixtapes and a lot of bullshit. You know, I don't want to say bullshit, but just like mixtapes that we were setting on, like Batteries Not Included and
Batteries Not
shit,
Included,
all guards and shit. Like we were going off on that shit. Like that was tight.
And like I said, I remember way back in the day, bro, the track that we got, because you know, as an upcoming artist, you look at, you know, especially at Garza at the time, and I thought of Garza as, you know, like a big name artist. You know what I mean? I remember one time he hit me up on Messenger on Facebook. Hey fam, I like what you're doing, blah blah. We should work on a track together. Dog, as a nobody, you're like bro, that's fucking dope.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And to be able to get to work with him, that was pretty dope. Obviously, it was just like a one track thing. We never worked again for whatever reason. But how you say you missed that wave, you also and again we don't have to talk about this, but you also kind of took a break from music. Period.
Yeah, all the way. Yeah, exactly. Because like in the process of having my children and how I'm say, like I'm a recovering drug addict. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Basically, like I did drugs. I done a lot of different drugs, all kind of shit. And in the process of not doing my music and trying to. I had that like I was 27 when I had my son. So having my son, trying to be a father, that was a new thing because my dad was never around. I had a big like issue going on in my personally.
Yeah.
So and I couldn't write any music. Everything I was writing was so negative. You know what I mean? So I just felt like instead of tainting everything I was doing, I was just gonna stop doing the music. You know what I mean? Until I can get back to where I was at.
Yeah.
Because it was almost like not fair. You know what I'm saying? For me to put to myself and just to the fans, for me to put out music that I'm not putting my 100% in. And so I was going through those issues like that. And I was going through my divorce and all kind of shit like that. You know what I mean? I had those cases building up.
Yeah.
I had to go do this time. There was a lot of things in my life that just were a little bit more important that I was actually putting on the back burner because of music.
Yeah.
And then it took my son to make me realize that the things I was neglecting were a little bit more important. So I had to go do that, and I just kind of basically just like, man, you couldn't even get a hold of me, bro. Like Garza couldn't get a hold of me. Like I wasn't on social media that much. I wasn't doing nothing. I was just gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that hurt me too. But I feel like in the process of doing all that shit, I found myself again. I found, you know what I mean? I made it through all them hard times, found myself, and now I feel great about not putting out trash music while I was feeling not like Bunz. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like basically, you know what I mean?
We are the voice of the underground.